Ryan Cole, we know you opened up last week at CSU. First off, how did you feel about both teams' performances there?
Yeah, it was solid. I mean, it's the start to the year, so you never know what you're going to get until you line everybody up and go run hard. But also, the races this early on in the year, 5K is pretty short for the men, so it also serves a training purpose and a bit of a rust buster. It's a quicker tempo than a lot of guys have run so far this fall in their training, and beginning of September is still very early, so sort of a glorified tempo run a little bit, but also start to work out some of the nerves with putting the uniform back on, just going through race day routine and getting into that rhythm. And then for our younger guys, they came out of basic and they're getting back into it, and they'd like to compete, but you also want to get them out there and give them a little bit of taste for what college competition is like, but also see how they respond to that as a coach, because really that's your first opportunity to work with them and watch them in a competitive setting, not just at practice. So served a lot of purposes. Be lying if I said felt like we hit a home run, but at the same time, if you're hitting home runs in September, that's kind of dicey as you get toward the end of the year. So yeah, it's a start.
Your women finished third at that meet. I think you might expect some big things from Karina Gillespie, J.C. Smith. How are you feeling about the females specifically?
Yeah, I thought our women were pretty solid as well. Same thing as the guys. You got to get out there and see where you're at. We didn't run Karina in that particular event, and we've tried to shift her schedule a little bit to really be gearing toward the end of the year with her. We've worked together for a few years now, and we've kind of figured out when she has an upswing and then how long that upswing lasts, and so we're trying to time that with the end of the season. JC had a little bit of a ding and a dent coming off track season, so we had an extended break period for her. Same thing, trying to build her up slowly and have her ready for October, November. We had a few freshmen that ran really surprisingly well for not running, much over the summer with basic, and so again, it's a timing thing. So I feel like with us. Basic's a little bit of a blessing in disguise for our freshmen, where their upswing happens toward the end of the year rather than the kids that graduate high school and are really excited, train really hard over the summer, kind of do the September superstar thing, and then by the end of the season are pretty tired. So I thought there was a lot of positives to take away and reason to be guardedly optimistic that by the end of the year our women can be very good as well as our men. So yeah, it was a productive showing for us.
Do you set goals as far as at the end of the season where you want to be, Mountain West team-wise, individuals? How do you do all that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's natural. You have certain outcomes that you'd like to accomplish, but those outcomes are really impacted by variables that are out of our control. If there's a team or an individual that it has a great race or is just at a very high level, we can't control that. So I feel like we try to run to our potential. You have a certain capacity you feel like your team is capable of, and I guess it's kind of vague, but coaches, when you kind of watch your team and you assess your personnel and see who you have, you feel like you know what they're relatively capable of. And then at the end of the year, if we feel like we're pretty close to running at capacity or moderately close to reaching the potential we feel like we have, then we can be satisfied with that. But I've told both teams repetitively here at the beginning of the year that if they stick to the process, we feel like that potential is pretty high with this group, but at the end of the day, you still have to go out there and do it. So, yeah, at the end of the year, we want to be running and walking away from courses feeling like, okay, that's about what we had on that day with who we have. And if we do that, we're going to have some very favorable outcomes.
Okay, Coach. Thanks for the update.
Absolutely.